Alright, so over the past few years, I've seen many people struggle to order from the Artisan website, and it's pretty much always for the same few reasons. The Artisan website is notorious for not being super user-friendly and is also plagued by some bugs that can make it quite difficult to place an order. So this video is basically just going to be an in-depth guide on how to navigate an order from the Artisan website. I'll cover everything that you need to know with regards to how you'd go about placing an order from start to finish, and also provide answers to a lot of the common questions that I see being asked everywhere, literally all the time. This video does have a lot of rambling in it, so there are timestamps that you can refer to, and the main reason why I'm making this video in the first place is actually so I can refer people to it myself when they're having trouble. In other words, it's not exactly supposed to be entertaining. So, to start off, just head over to your browser of choice. I'm using Google Chrome, since that's what I see most people using, and I'm sure many of you might already know, but the website is just artisan-jp.com, and you can just punch that into your search bar. Now, the first issue that a lot of people encounter already starts here. What they'll do is search Artisan Mousepad on Google and click one of the top results, and while we can see that we're on the Artisan website, the issue here is that it's a glitched page, so no images load and most of this page is non-functional. But if you wanted to escape from this page, you could just click the gaming mousepad button on the top right here, and it will bring you to the place where you want to be. Moving on, now that you're on the website, you'll need to click the red overseas button, which you can find on the top here, and also further down over here. This is actually something that a lot of people miss, since they don't realize that the page I'm on right now was actually auto-translated by Google Chrome from Japanese to English, since this is the domestic version of the website. Artisan has their domestic and international orders separated, so they have a separate portion of the website dedicated to international orders. That means that if you were to try to check out on the domestic version of the website, you simply wouldn't be able to. If you look at the checkout page that I'm on, it's asking for things like prefectures, which most countries don't have, because this was only designed to be used by residents of Japan. Anyways, after clicking the overseas button, you'll see that we've made it to the English version of the site, which has had most of the text masterfully translated by Mr. Toshihiro Kobayashi himself. Now, you'll just want to choose the mousepad that you want to order. And you'll notice that at the time of recording, there's two main options, Classic and Ninja FX. There's only a few differences between the two, and it's fairly simple. Ninja FX has stitched edges, while Classic is unstitched. The logos are also slightly different, as you can see here. Classic is a bit cheaper, and the Raiden Classic in particular isn't and won't be available in soft. Everything else is exactly the same, so it's really just up to you to choose what you want, but most people will opt for Ninja FX since, theoretically, stitched edges should be more viable in the long term since it helps prevent fraying and delamination, though I haven't really seen anyone have these issues on a classic variant Artisan, so take that as you will. Anyways, moving on, after you select your mousepad of choice, I'm going to select the 0 here, you'll be able to select the size, hardness, and color that you want. So, looking at the sizes, here's a basic size chart that you can refer to with all of the pads relative to each other, and if you want to see how large they'll be on your desk, you can just pull out a ruler or tape measure. The general consensus with Artisan sizing has always been to get XL or XXL, unless you're unable to fit either on your desk, in which case you could consider large. But for small and medium, on the other hand, they're quite unpopular given that they're tiny. Perhaps if you want a portable travel pad to throw in a laptop sleeve or have literally no space on your desk at all, then you could consider one, but sadly they won't be available for any of the new pad releases as they're slowly but surely being phased out. Now that you've selected the size that you want, it's time to select the hardness. Artisan has generously provided us with a basic table here that attempts to explain the differences between the three options, but I found that this is an oversimplification since it doesn't really go in depth that much at all. If you're curious about my take on the matter, I'd say that you should only consider soft and mid if you don't have any prior experience with Artisan or really just higher-end mousepads in general. Here's a slightly longer version of what I was just talking about if you want to take a moment to pause the video, but since I won't be diving deeper into the differences because it would probably take too long, I'm just going to gloss over it for now. Anyways, now we get to the color. It's really not that hard. Just pick the color that you like if there's more than one option available, but just note that there may be some differences performance-wise, though it's still just something most people tend to overthink. Like for the 0, For example, the dye orange variant is slightly rougher than the black because of the dyeing process, but honestly, like I said, I wouldn't say that it's something you should worry about too much. The only pad where color really matters is with the Shidenkai V2, because the black variant in particular has more tracking issues than the white and dye orange, and the black variant also is just a fingerprint magnet, but the Shidenkai V2 is discontinued anyways, so this isn't too much of a concern anymore unless you're intending to buy one secondhand. Anyways, so now that everything has been chosen, you can click Add to Cart. Obviously, if you want to change the quantity, you can do so here or in your cart, but if the specific pad that you want is sold out, so let's say the 0XL Soft in black is sold out right now, it'll say right here, and you won't be able to add that pad to your cart, or so you'd think. Because this website is a bit scuffed, it sometimes won't show that something is out of stock and will let you click Add to Cart, but not actually add anything to your cart at all. If something is out of stock, you'll just have to wait patiently for it to restock, which will happen eventually, but at random since restocks aren't officially announced anywhere. However, if you want to know exactly when a pad restocks, a community member named Cube did make a functional stock checker, which will be linked in the description. Anyways, selecting a model that's actually in stock, I'm just going to add it to my cart, and you'll see that I'm taken to this checkout page automatically. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is select the country that you live in. In my case, it's going to be Canada because that's where I live, and you'll see that DHL is selected automatically. This isn't something you can change because Artisan has completely disabled EMS as a shipping option for all countries, and it's been that way for quite a while. It's also important to note that the shipping is quite expensive because the majority of Artisan mousepads are flat packed, and everything is shipped via DHL Express, which is arguably the best international shipping service. However, as an incentive to get you to order more, Artisan specifically mentions that if you buy 2 pads, you'll pay the exact same shipping fee as you would for one. This is because they can fit another mousepad in the same shipping box they use for single pad orders, so the volume does not increase. So let's say I were to add a Hayate Co to my cart. I just have to select the country again because this site is kind of scuffed, and you'll notice that the shipping fee remains exactly the same. So, assuming that your original intentions were to only purchase a single Artisan mousepad, you're now faced with this value proposition that's basically telling you to buy 2 instead of 1, as you'll pay less on each mousepad overall. I'll also include a table here for the optimal amount of pads you should order if you want to get the most out of shipping. Maybe you could order alongside some friends or hoard them all for yourself or something, but just keep in mind that you shouldn't exceed 8 to 9 of the exact same pad, as your order may be cancelled otherwise. To put it simply, Artisan does not like it when people try to resell without having established a business relationship of some sort, but if you do need that many of the exact same pad for some reason, you can always shoot them an email at inc@artisanjp.com and explain your situation there. Now, you'll want to verify that the contents of your order are correct because sometimes people order the wrong size or hardness simply because they forget to select it, and you don't want that to happen to you. If it does, don't worry, it's not the end of the world, because as long as you catch this mistake before it actually ships out, you'll be able to cancel your order, which I'll explain how to do in a bit. And finally, one last thing before we move on, you'll notice that Artisan has been kind enough to mention that you may need to pay some sort of import or value-added tax alongside a fee imposed by DHL. Whether or not you'll actually have to pay anything beyond this checkout will actually depend on the laws of your country or region, so it would be good to ensure that you're aware as a consumer so that you don't get a surprise email from DHL asking you to pay up. In other words, do your own due diligence as a consumer and know what to expect. For example, in Canada, most items declared at above 20 Canadian would be subject to import tax or duties, but if you're in the USA, on the other hand, that number goes all the way up to 800 USD. That's quite a big difference. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, it's time to enter your address and personal information. I'll start by entering my first and last name, which is quite simple. And next you'll want to enter your house number or building/apartment name and number. And this is a bit weird because this is actually separated from the rest of your street address, but it's easier if I just show you what it would look like right now. So let's say my street address is 4259 Artisan Street. I'm just going to enter that in here like so. So 4259 there and Artisan Street over here. And that's all you need to do. If you live in an apartment or building of some sort though, they do provide the format right here, and you can go ahead and copy that if need be. So here's another part where people get confused. It's the city. So you'll see that there's a DHL checker tool here that you're recommended to use. And this is 100% optional, as all it's really here for is to ensure that you're entering the correct city or city equivalent into the prompt so that your delivery does not get messed up. Most people shouldn't need to use this, but if you want to see how it works anyways, I'll go ahead and show you. It stopped loading here for me a while ago, but that doesn't really matter because you can just go ahead and copy and paste this link into a new tab, and it should work as intended. You can ignore the left side completely and only focus on the right side, where you just enter your destination country alongside your zip or postal code. So because I live in Canada, I'm just going to enter Canada, and now I'm going to start to enter my postal code until I see the city pop up. So I see that Richmond Hill pops up, that's the city in this case, so I should be able to enter this into the city prompt now, and I should be fine. Once again, this is 100% optional, and if you've ever ordered online before, you probably won't need to use this. Next, you'll want to enter your state or state equivalent. In my case, it would be a province, so let's say Ontario, and you'll want to enter your zip or postal code as well in this box here. So Canadian postal code would be something like L4C0A7, and it's fine to enter a space here since it can help with readability, but if you're dealing with a, let's say, US zip code, you only enter the first 5 digits, so something like this, and you don't actually need the last 4 digits that you might see separated from the main zip code, since the standard 5-digit zip code is precise enough for delivery anyways. Now for your phone number, you just enter in your phone number without the country code, but do make sure that you include your area code or the first 3 digits that you typically see enclosed in parentheses. So as an example, I'll enter 647-999-5555, and that would be fine. Finally, for the email address, you'll want to make sure that you don't mess this up, so make sure that you're not using an Outlook or Hotmail email, first of all. Because Artisan's system just was not developed very well, it does not support those. So as long as you're using something like Gmail, you should be fine. Just make sure that you don't have any typos. So let's just enter an example email here. It doesn't really matter what I enter since I'm not actually ordering. And now that we've done all of that, you can proceed to hit checkout. Before you can proceed, however, you'll be prompted to ensure that everything you've entered is correct, so go ahead and double or triple check if you want to, but like I said, because I'm just entering random information in, I can just proceed normally. So you'll be brought to this page where it'll show all of the relevant information in a table, and you'll also notice that they talk about order cancellation. Basically, after you've placed your order, if you notice that you've made a mistake or just simply changed your mind and your order still hasn't shipped out yet, you can contact Artisan at inc@artisan-jp.com, provide your order number, and request for order cancellation. Another option would be to reply to your original order confirmation, but either or works. You'll be refunded what you paid less 100 yen for transaction fees through PayPal, and before the refund is processed, you will also receive a confirmation for the cancellation from Mr. Yasuhiro Gotoda, who's one of the support representatives who has been with Artisan pretty much ever since the beginning. They also misspell the email here, which is an obvious typo, but it's kind of whatever. So, assuming your order and delivery information are correct, you're just going to click Agree and head over to the payment page. For some reason, this always shows up in French for me. I'm pretty sure that's how it is for Canada. But aside from that, you'll want to avoid this external payment option since it's kind of broken. You can just enter your card details in the bottom section here, and you'll still be charged through PayPal. The final step is to click Checkout once more, and the payment, if successful, should go through and your order will be placed. If you've made it this far, then congratulations, you've placed an order on the Artisan website and hopefully it didn't screw up. You'll be met with a confirmation on a new page, and if it brings you back to the checkout, then don't worry because your order should have gone through already. Regardless, now it's time to check your email. Assuming you didn't use an Outlook or Hotmail email and spelled your email correctly, you should have received an automatic order confirmation, which should look similar to this. It'll have your order number here, this entire thing, alongside the contents of your order and your shipping address. If you're unable to find this email in your inbox, which is an issue that a lot of people might encounter, you can try checking your promotions tab or just search over here using the term Artisan, which should display the confirmation email. At this stage, now you'll just have to wait around it usually takes around 2 weeks for them to ship out your order. That's pretty consistent with how it's been over the past couple years, even when they say it might take up to 5 weeks to ship out your order. There's only been a few times where it's taken longer than 2 weeks, and those periods usually don't last for too long. Anyways, that should be all for this guide. I know it's quite long for something that should be pretty simple, but after watching this video, you should now be a master at using the Artisan website. That being said, if you are still having trouble with something, you can leave a comment on the video and I'll try to reply to as many of them as possible, or, even better, head over to the unofficial Artisan Discord server, which I'll have linked in the description and in a pinned comment, and ask me for help over there. Also, if you want to see a video with an in-depth exploration into the 3 different hardness options and all of the different surfaces, then feel free to let me know. But aside from that, if you thought this video was helpful, consider giving it a like. That should be all for now, so please enjoy the rest of your day.